Oh, Kanye, Kanye, Kanye. Kanye again, y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. Let's get into it. So, hi and welcome back to my channel. Yes, you've probably seen this shirt already. I'm knocking them out. But while we're here, let's go on and talk about Mr. West. So if you're not familiar, Kanye West did a presidential rally in South Carolina. Why he did a presidential rally is beyond me, because if I'm not mistaken, it is too late for you to run for president. And I thought he said that he was not running. So what happened? You just already had the space and figured you had to use it? I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. But what we're here to talk about is the fact that Kanye had the audacity to talk bad about our own beloved Minty. You're going to keep Minty name out your mouth. And if you don't know who Minty is, I am talking about the one, the only, the legend, Harriet Tubman. So what did Kanye say? He said that, and don't quote me, I'm not going to go verbatim, but he said something in the likes of, Harriet Tubman actually didn't free the slaves. She just took them to work for white people. Sir, her whole legend, what makes her who she is the fact that she freed over 300 slaves through the Underground Railroad successfully. We're going to add that part. And so for the fact that you to turn around and come back and say what you said, it's just like, come on. I'm going to try not to do this video and get super highly emotional, but I stand for Minty. I stand for Harriet Tubman. I don't know, what caused it. I've always known about it in history, but I think what it was is when they brought her character into the show Underground, which I hate that they canceled. That was so dumb. They shouldn't have canceled it. But seeing Aisha Hines, who played her role, and just telling her story and learning things about her that I did not know, it kind of drew me into her even more. So for me, Harriet Tubman is a personal hero. I believe she was brave, she was wise, she was selfless. I mean, if you really think about it, if you were in her position where you escaped and you went through all that you went through to escape, because if you do not know, that wasn't no easy journey, would you then turn around and go back and say, I got to do this again, I have to free more people? I mean, if you just be completely honest with yourself, would you go back and do it? Would you take that risk? It was bounties on her head. They wanted her dead. And so the fact that she was able to just risk her life and continue to do it, and not only continue to do that, then move forward and still work and help for the betterment of her people, and then to go from doing that to taking care of those who were elderly and sick and couldn't take care of themselves. I mean, this woman just lived a life that was just selfless from beginning to end. And so that's why I personally love her, and just her strength. You know what I'm saying? This little lady carrying a shotgun with her and was willing to take anybody down if she had to. You talking about by any means necessary. Sis was getting it done by any means necessary. But back to Mr. West. So that's what really pushed me to do this, because like I said, she's my personal hero. But I wanted to make sure that I made some key points. So the first thing that came to my mind when all of this happened, the first thing that I did, and I always do this whenever he goes off on a limb like this, I always go and check to see what Kim Kardashian West is up to. Not to say that, you know, that I can really check just by going through social media, but that's the only way that I have to get to her. And it kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth when you see he's out here doing this and she's posting other stuff that's completely opposite. It's like, do you care about your husband? You know that this man has bipolar issues. He is bipolar. And so you just let him go off on these things. Where is somebody there to pull him back, to rein him in? And I would think the first person would be his wife. And so it makes me wonder, like, have they given up on him? Do they just not care? Like, you know, and in their defense, can they not control him? Like, but, you know, it just makes me, that's always my first thought is, what is his wife doing? Where is his wife? You know, we're not going to even get into if he had a black wife or whatever like that. It's just a matter of, because you know he has a mental illness, how are you so comfortable just letting him go and do, knowing that he can have the outbreaks and the outburst that he have, and you don't feel like it's a detriment to him, to your family, or to you? That's always a question for me. Another thing is I have an issue with the changing of history to fit your narrative. Now, I know that movies do it all the time, and for me, with that, it's almost like, you know, it's gonna happen. You know that in a movie, if they're doing a historical movie, they have to change it to a certain extent to make it bring some entertainment to it. And I'm okay with that as long as it doesn't get outrageous or it completely goes left from the story, or goes left from who that person actually was, and it's also the creator's interpretation. But when you change history to make a point, so much so to the point that you're hurting the people in that history, like what he said was just completely disrespectful to Harriet Tubman and her legacy and everything that this woman has done. And to simplify it down to, she didn't free slaves, she just sent them to work for white people. That completely goes against what she was and who she was and what she stood for and what she did. And so I have just a huge issue with that. Last thing is, if he is so willing and if he is able to say these things so freely to a crowd of people, knowing how it is going to go out, or not even caring about the ramifications of what's going to happen after he said, I have to ask myself, what exactly are you teaching your children? Because we have to remember, Kanye West is a father, and he has 4 children, and those children are black. They are mixed race. They have Armenian, black, Caucasian, whatever else. And so we know for a fact that Kim is going to make sure that they understand their Armenian heritage. She's going to make sure that they understand that part of that, they understand the history of that part of who they are. Not so much because she wants them to know him, but also because it honors her father. We also know that Kim ain't going to take that left with them when it comes to black history. And honestly, she shouldn't have to when they have a black father whose mother was a professor and English. So you know she has to have some insight on history. And you know that she was a champion of education. And so Kanye ain't stupid. So then it just makes me wonder, when it comes to him teaching Black history to his children, when it comes to him teaching about our heritage and our ancestry and our struggles and our strengths and where we come from, what is he teaching these kids? What is he teaching these kids? If he can say something as redundant, as dumb, as foul, as wrong as what he said about Harriet Tubman, there is no telling what else he is teaching his kids when it comes to slavery, when it comes to the civil rights movement, when it comes to other activists that have fought and died and who are still fighting for us. What are you telling your children? What pride in their Blackness are you teaching them as a Black man if you are saying these things out in the media and to the public? So that's it. That's all I got. I ain't got no more. I ain't gonna hold y'all, because you know I ain't gonna hold y'all. Let me know what you think about the whole Kanye situation, this whole situation. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching my videos. I thank you for the input and the insight that you have been giving me on this segment. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Bye.